Hello everybody, and welcome to another video brought to you by me, VintageElectronicsGeek.com. Today's topic is going to be about this radio in front of you. We're going to do a quick overview and we're going to rip it open at a minimum, look at it at a maximum. I would like to replace the capacitors where plausible and need to adjust the band on public service band as it's off. So what do we have here? Well, this is a Sony TFM-7400W from 1972. It is AM, FM, and public service. It's also super sensitive, and I could attest to that. This radio is amazing. It is just has some crazy receive on both AM and FM. Primarily on AM is where I've been doing my listening. FM does offer some crazy reception as well. Public service band is kind of deaf, however, and where I can get it, the weather, it's off frequency. So we're going to need to adjust that. Thing weighs about, I don't know, 50 pounds. It's well, not quite that heavy, but I would imagine with batteries in it as such, a good 5 pounds. It's a very heavy radio. All right, maybe 2.5 pounds. It's heavy. We have a light here for illumination. Unfortunately, it's dim. You can't see it very well, and when the lights do come on, it's brown. So I may entertain the idea of replacing that with some LEDs. I'll check that out while I'm in there. We have our on-off switch, volume, tone, battery, and AC switch. And over here we have our AFC on-off. And here we have the channel selector, or band selector. On the side we have a nice knob here for tuning the frequencies. On the back side we have our battery door, and we have a input jack. Isn't that cool? On this side we have a headphone jack. On the back here, I forgot, this is where our batteries go. This is where our AC cord goes. I bought this radio used at a secondhand store. The cord was cut off, as it still is, so we're going to be replacing that as well. So I bought it unknown whether it worked or not. The overall condition, as you see, it is dusty, it is dirty. I left that purposely just so you could see. It was in a lot worse condition, but I wanted to fire this up and show this, share that experience with you, but I just got too excited and I couldn't do it. I had to play with it. So I put batteries in it, 4D batteries, been running it almost exclusively for the past month. And it's an amazing radio. Power saver on the batteries. And like I said, reception is just crazy, crazy, crazy. The handle is a fixed handle. The antenna is here in the handle. And what I think is kind of cool is this really nice jewel, red jewel kind of tip. The aerial is a, what are we? 1, 2, 3, it's a 4-section mast. This mast is completely perfect, no bends, no kinks. It rises and falls firmly, not worn out at all. Filthy. We're going to clean this up. With any luck, I'll be able to tear it apart and clean it up proper. You know, get in here and just saturate the plastic, get it all nice and pretty, make it look like brand spanking new. So with that all said, how does it sound, you ask? Well, let's check it out. Oops. And it's loud. Forgot to mention that the tuning has a tuning light here on the needle, and that is really cool.
What if you could make one free phone call and learn your best?
Just want to let you know that I'm recording this video at 3:55 in the afternoon. And we are on the AM band.
Under $28 a month. I'm Select Quote Agent Dan.
I'm young enough to say that, right? Yeah. Anyway, who's...
Or a business executive.
Colegial los sábados porque los dueños estamos aquí. Estamos en el Mi Bar por todo el casino en Morongo.
And that Toyota scoring drive was 70 yards on 5.
Ain't that cool?
Where will the next meltdown be? The 405, the 101, You can spin the wheel and take your chances.
Oh, that's Los Angeles.
Some of the region's most experienced
KFI, I believe.
traffic every 10 minutes on the 5s around the clock. Southern California's only 24-hour news and traffic station, KNX 1070.
Oh, KNX 1070.
Plan on selling or buying your home. Listen to this important message. Did you know
Now that's Southern California. I'm in Northern California, and like I said, it's right at 4 p.m. in the afternoon right now.
everything a traditional real estate agent does? With
appearances, we have thousands of success stories that have helped people resolve their criminal matters.
It changed your life and changed your walk with the Lord.
Thanks for joining us for the Town Hall Review.
90 40 41 France ਦੇ ਲਈ 3318014255 33 180 142 595 ਆਸਟ੍ਰੇਲੀਆ ਦੇ ਲਈ 6128080560 61 2
Decent tone control.
5501
next week, we've got some interesting...
Art Sacred Music Channel.
We have a need for joy today. There's no doubt about it. The world's a very dark place. But why would anybody want what you've got if you don't even want it? We believe our faith has
Hey,
and will
who says I don't want this
change
radio?
the world for the better.
Anyway,
The dead are raised.
I won't bore you with going to the other bands, but there you go. Now you have an idea of what it sounds like. It is an impressive radio. One of, this has to be the best reception radio I have in my collection. And I have several that's pretty awesome. I do have a vintage Yorks boombox from, I believe, the early 80s. And that was always my go-to radio for DX. But I think this radio is, well, I know it gives that one competition. I've set them side by side, and this one will get that radio station, hold it a little bit longer than the Yorks. Let's go ahead and start the process of ripping and tearing. Well, opening up the case was pretty simple. We just had these 2 screws, pull those out, and then this case just easily pops right off. Unfortunately, because of the input jack, can't separate it completely. Here is a tour of the innards. Okay, so I've got the radio inner chassis completely pulled out from the casing. After looking at it the way how that it's assembled, there's really not much I'm going to be able to do with the radio. I'll show you this real quick. I know I'm working backwards. The pigtail for the AC mains is the only place I'm going to be able to tap in with a new cable. And let me show you why that is and why it's the only thing I'm really going to do. So this is the back side board, power supply. And then you flip it over to the front side, and there you have it. All this plastic is mounted to the front side of, or to the PCB board. The tuning cord is all wrapped around here. I don't really feel like tearing it apart, the tuning string, and then restringing it. I don't know the combination, although it should be relatively easy to figure out looking at it. The only place that I see any turns is right here on this knob part. And then we have, looks like maybe one turn, 1.5 turns down here. Otherwise everything is just looped around, no issues. Accessing the dial light, again, this is all hard plastic. There's no way to access the lights, so that's not going to happen. The LED would be about really the only thing one could access, but even at that, that's kind of encased into this funny. And so it's really going to be more of a chore than anything. The radio works fine otherwise. I'll replace that AC mains cable, reassemble it, and we'll tune up the radio the best we can. Getting this out of the main body was a little challenge. Had to unsolder some wires. Easy to access. The one that's going to be a little hard to put back is the speaker and the headphone jack. The headphone jack, let me show you how that is put in. This is not bolted on as you would normally expect, but what's happening here is it's actually inside of a channel. It'll slide into this channel, and this little rubber piece is acting as a wedge. It's glued in there to hold that in. Otherwise, that would slide out. Now I've tried to gently remove that, and I've tried taking a screwdriver and smashing that down to slide that out. That did not happen. I got tired of sliding both pieces around, so I went ahead and unsoldered that out. The wire is kind of taut, so both it and the speakers are going to be a little tricky to put in. Speaking of the back case, we see here on the inside we do have some notches, which is right underneath here. Now I know the export models, the Canadian models, it actually has the AC mains cable right here. So all they did was different badges. All of the foam has fallen out and just went everywhere into dust. Picked up what I could. So we're going to get that AC mains replaced. Clean up the case. On the front of the case, I'm going to remove the speaker. Here we have the momentary switch. We're going to clean that switch up. We're going to clean up the rest of the switches and the dials. And then we're going to come around here and we're going to really give this a nice good soaking, clean this all up. Well, there might be a little hitch in our plan here. Strip the pigtail off the radio, and This is not 100% copper. It's that copper nylon kind of mesh type wire, and in past I've never really been too successful in working with this stuff. You can see we got a bunch of fibers through it. Not only there, but the copper wire itself, I do believe is made up of nylon fibers or something. It don't bend exactly like copper. And so what I was going to do was do a mechanical connection, staggered the wires, and was going to come in and shove the wires through as such on both sides. Oops, can't see because my hand. Just kind of shove them in like that. Let them kind of marry together like that, and then hit them with solder, and that'd make a nice mechanical connection. Unfortunately, because of how that is, I really don't know how that's going to work. But let's see what happens. Well, I couldn't mash the wires together like I wanted for a mechanical connection, so I went ahead and did a different type. I hooked them. I twisted them, goobered them up with solder, and then hooked them to each other and put some heat shrink tubing on each line. And then the next piece to do is just take this piece of heat shrink, which I think is a little too small, and get it up over there, and then come in and shrink that down. And then that should give us a working AC cord, and that'll do it for now. We'll catch you on the other side.
The church leaders support this.
Okay, very good. Well, it works. That's what's important. So let's go ahead and move forward with the cleaning process. You can see it's nice and shiny. And let me zoom in on the dial. Here on the back side, I've just hit it with some alcohol, cleaned it up. I did clean all the switches and controls, so those are ready to go. Even though I didn't have any issues with them, figured I'm in here anyway, I might as well do it. And so once I'm done cleaning the front, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to hit the battery bay, clean that up. I'm going to hit the cord, clean that up. We're going to do the back next. I was going to do the front, but this is what I grabbed, and so that's what we're going to do first. And you can see how icky that is. All nice and dirty, icky. You can see here on the back how dull that is. Well, here I am about 2 weeks out from the last clip you saw. This radio was an absolute nightmare to clean. I think the previous owner was a smoker, or at least one of its owners was a smoker, and throughout the years the tar and dust hardened on this radio and it became an absolute nightmare to clean. I must have spent at least 20 passes on every aspect of this radio. The knobs alone, all four of these knobs, I spent a good 2.5 hours cleaning. Now, after all the hours spent cleaning this radio, the radio itself, not counting the knobs, the radio itself, I've got about 30 hours in cleaning. That's right, 30 hours in cleaning. And it's still not 100% perfect. It's a lot better than what it was, this is true, but it still needs more attention. It exhausted me, so I stopped. I figure I will clean later. Okay, got rid of that phone call. So with all that said, the radio is a lot better than it was. I ensured that the dial was on correct frequency on both AM and FM. They were just slightly off, so I did get those back on track. Overall, I'm really pleased with the outcome of the radio. I just wished smokers would take better care, not only of their gear, but of themselves. Smoking is not fun.
Now it's FC Santander. We're joining Gary and after he moves into the White House January 20th, he'll review the full situation. Ruling out reroute. Drop their franchise record, 11th straight game, getting embarrassed.
Wow, mine's 3 times an hour, 3 times a day, whatever. But you have captured everybody's attention.
They raise their voice and they talk a little louder, and you take stock.
Anyway, that's it for this video. I want to thank you very much for watching. Take care. Catch you in the next one.